Confusion on why Rahul Gandhi was disqualified in the parliament, why that action was taken. So could you explain the court judgments that actually led to that taking place? And then could you also tell us what happens now? We've talked about potentially them going to the Gujarat High Court. Actually, sorry, Pallavi, just stay with us. We're going right now.
हम किसी भी एडवोकेट या किसी भी ऑनरेबल जज को हम क्रिटिसाइज करना नहीं चाहते. ऑल आर परफॉर्मिंग दैट ड्यूटीज. र्यूमर है, र्यूमर को हम नहीं मानते हैं कि जुडिशियरी को कंट्रोल कर रही है गवर्नमेंट. हम नहीं मानते र्यूमर को. हमें जुडिशियरी पे ट्रस्ट है, जुडिशियरी पे पूरा होप है, विश्वास है कि जुडिशियरी जस्टिस भी करेगी और डेमोक्रेसी को सेव भी करेगी. Appeal in High Court to grant a stay against this injunction.
Sir, did you say?
आज कोर्ट ने स्टे एप्लीकेशन डिसमिस कर दी. सिंपल. और कोई ऑर्डर नहीं दिया और कोई ऑर्डर बाद में देंगे फर्दर.
Could you repeat the humor point you said? Was this humor जो राहुल गांधी ने statements दिए थे, क्या आप बोल रहे हैं वो humorous थे? That is why you're not.
Of course, his statement also humorous.
How was it humorous, sir? ये तो कास्ट के ऊपर उन्होंने statements दिए.
कास्ट पे नहीं दिया था.
उन्होंने कहा था कि
ऑनरेबल पीएम के खिलाफ.
आप कह रहे हैं कि ये हंसने वाली चीज है.
मैडम, ऑनरेबल पीएम पे और जो भगोड़े हैं मिस्टर मोदी उस पर किया था टच. उन्होंने किसी कास्ट, किसी मोदी सर्वे पर नहीं किया था. नॉट ए ह्यूमरस, र्यूमरस, 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 नॉट ह्यूमरस. ह्यू एंड र्यू इज डिफरेंट मैडम, प्लीज एक्सक्यूज मी. हमारे लॉयर ने भी करी थी, ऑनरेबल राहुल जी के लॉयर ने दलील तो करी थी कि भाई हमें स्टे.
Okay, we've heard from Ananya, who is our legal correspondent. He's positioned outside the court right now. Let's go over to my colleague Pallavi right now to understand more. Pallavi, could you just clarify for our audiences what happens now? We know that the Wayanad seat is something that the EC has not yet announced the by-election date for. What happens now? What happens to this question of whether or not Rahul Gandhi can be an MP, and what is the timeline potentially for that, particularly keeping the 2024 mark in mind?
Well, you know, he first has to, there has to be a stay, or rather I would say a dismissal on his conviction for him to even be reinstated as a member of parliament. Now, elections are there in May 2024, April-May 2024, which means roughly just a year left to go. Maybe that's also one reason why the election commission is not in a hurry to issue a by-poll notification, but we'll have to wait to see whether the election commission is also going to be waiting to see the legal procedure also being fanned out. That's one. Very quickly, what are the legal roads ahead? Very clear that Congress party is now going to be approaching the Gujarat High Court. If they don't get relief there, then of course they are going to be going to Supreme Court after that. Of course, they are going to be hoping for the relief ASAP. The moment that relief comes, which means his conviction is dismissed, they are going to immediately approach the Speaker's office as a matter of procedure, and then it's up to the Speaker when to reinstate. But if you look at the past precedents where the Lakshadweep MP had complained about the fact that his reinstatement was taking a long time, he had approached the court. And
आगे का रास्ता बंद नहीं है, कोर्ट का रास्ता बहुत लंबा है. अरे हाईकोर्ट से सुप्रीम कोर्ट से છે ને ન્યાય માટે જ જશું. આગળની રણનીતિ તો અમે અમારા જે લોયર છે એને મળીને કરશે આગળ.
હસમુખભાઈ, જો માફી માંગી લીધી હોત તો અત્યાર સુધી વાત આટલી આગળ ના વધી હોત એવું આપનું માનવું છે, શું કહેશો?
રાહુલજી આ દેશ માટે લડશે, લડતા રહેશે, આ લોકો માટે લડશે, સંવિધાનને માને છે. સંવિધાન
મારું નિવેદન આવ્યું હતું માફીને લઈને, એટલા માટે
અમે એટલા જ માટે કહીએ છીએ ને કે આ દેશ માટે લડીએ છીએ ને, આ દેશના લોકો માટે લડીએ છીએ તો લોકો માટે લડતા.
ગુજરાતીમાં થોડી લોકો
જે હજી
Okay, let's go back to my colleague Pallavi. Pallavi, something very interesting that we'd watched actually play out in Parliament though the week after that he was dismissed was we finally saw the opposition come together and be unified. And many critics had looked at that and said, could it potentially mean something new for 2024? Could we hear your thoughts on that as these court proceedings continue?
turnaround moment was when the Trinamool Congress, which has always kept itself away from opposition unity or any such meetings, actually was the first ones to stand by the Congress party. Mamata Banerjee issued a statement that it was a cue for her party that, you know, we all need to get together, and they started attending the opposition unity meetings which took place inside Parliament. The argument was very simple: if it can happen to Rahul Gandhi, it can happen to any of us. So this is a turnaround moment, but also we have to be a little cynical, and I certainly have been, whether this incident is good enough for the opposition to stay together. We are seeing the twists and turns which are taking place in Maharashtra. We are also seeing that many political parties do.
All right, and the slice of breaking news that we're bringing you, this is something that was largely expected, that Rahul Gandhi would move the High Court against what the Surat court has had to say. This is after, as you can see, the Sessions Court has dismissed his plea. This is the expected next step. Pallavi, you were saying that this is very much the expected next step. In fact, I think a few minutes before the verdict came out, you said that the Congress camp was already predicting this. Can you bring us more context?
I think this is a procedure which the Congress is going to be following step by step. They had to go to Sessions Court. I mean, they didn't directly approach the Supreme Court. They had to go to Sessions Court. After it's dismissed there, of course, he's going to go to the Gujarat High Court. Again, over there, the rider is that whenever I speak to many within the Congress party, they are saying we're not too hopeful of the High Court as well, in which case, as a last recourse, they are actually going to go to Supreme Court. That is going to be critical, because if the Supreme Court also does not give relief to Rahul Gandhi, in a sense, it's going to be an end, I would say, in every sense, end of his parliamentary political career, which means as per the law, he cannot contest for elections for the next 6 to 8 years. So he's going to be outside Parliament for that. So it's a step by step, and no surprises here. This is a matter of procedure, as Ananya will also say, that they do go to High Court after this. But in the meanwhile, what really happens? Well, the narrative will be pushed by the Congress party. They're certainly going to keep on making the point that this is yet another attempt to muzzle or crush the voice of the opposition. And as I was talking about, Toya, even minutes before the verdict was supposed to come out, it's not a coincidence. It's a very well-planned strategy that Rahul Gandhi releases a video statement where he gives a chronology and statistics on how the Adani group of industries have their footprints across the country and on many enterprises and across many companies as well. So clearly, despite reservations coming in from the other opposition parties, Rahul Gandhi certainly remains stubborn, and that he wants to go ahead with this issue because he feels this is an issue on which he can corner the Prime Minister over.
I just want to ask you, Pallavi, what do experts say when it comes to the legal argument that Rahul Gandhi made in that Surat court? If it were to eventually have to make its way to the Supreme Court, do experts agree that there is legal strength, legal grounds to his argument?
We'll see, the judge's decision is always final. Clearly, the judge was not convinced by the argument being given by the Congress appointed lawyers that Rahul Gandhi's comment was not against any community or any caste. It was certainly not an OBC comment. In fact, leader after leader of the Congress party made the point that are Lalit Modi and Nirav Modi belonging to the OBC community. Therefore, how can you say that Rahul Gandhi's comments on Modi's were actually a comment on the entire OBC community? See, a lot of politics actually happens outside the court, and you know, whatever happens inside the court then has his reflection back on the politics of it. We are talking about bang in the middle of the heat and dust of the Karnataka campaign. What happened in court today is something which is going to be used by both the sides to their advantage, BJP and the Congress party as well.
Okay, Pallavi, I'm actually going to come back to you in a few minutes to ask you how the Congress would potentially use this. Let's go over right now to Tom Vadakan from the BJP. All right, we'll actually go over to Ananya Bhatnagar, who's with us. Ananya is our legal correspondent. My colleague Pallavi and my colleague Shireen are also with us on this story. Pallavi, if I could actually come back to you to understand more right now, because you touched on a very interesting point. As our audiences are possibly aware, elections are set to take place in Karnataka in just a few days from now. May 10th. We can see how the BJP could possibly spin this. How would the Congress use this to their advantage?
Very quickly are certainly going to make the point that he is against the OBC community. These are interesting times really, Toya, because suddenly the Congress party has brought the focus back on caste census. They are demanding a caste census. Therefore, what they are doing is they are accusing the BJP of being anti-OBC, anti-Dalit. Now, that matters. Okay. More than 15% of the vote bank is OBC plus Dalit. And that's Pallavi, the card which is being played by...
I do need to ask you to stay with us. Tom Vadakan from the BJP with us right now. Mr. Vadakan, thank you for joining us this morning on CNN News 18. News18. Mr. Vadakan, as we can see right now, the Sessions Court dismissing Rahul Gandhi's plea, but as we're hearing, the Congress seems confident. They're going to be taking this to the High Court, and then if they need to, they might even take this to the Supreme Court. So how is the BJP responding to these developments?
Well, this is not about the BJP. This is between the defendant and the court. So these are matters which has to be settled in court if they are confident to go to the High Court, Supreme Court. But what surprises me is when Pawan Khera's issue came up, they went like rockets to the Supreme Court. And here they are now kind of, we are confident of the High Court and the Supreme Court. Be what it may. See, I heard Pallavi say that it was not about OBCs. But let me remind Pallavi that OBC, if he does not know that the Modis are part of the OBC category, it's his fault, no? And he had a reason that he could have apologized before the court and the matter would have ended. No, the arrogance is showing. He's not Savarkar, that's what he says. But Savarkar was a greater man than he can imagine. The point here is, look, when there are easier ways out, you had a method of getting out of this whole mess. And you could have apologized to the court and the matter would have ended. You did that in Supreme Court. It's not earlier. And you could have done that.
Okay. Mr. Vadakan, I just want to understand from you, if the Congress were to use this during the campaign that they're currently running in Karnataka, if they were to say that, look, the BJP does not fight an equal fight for the OBCs. You did touch on this answer, but I'd like you to elaborate. What do you think the BJP is going to say in response?
See, I'm only anticipating the fact that the whole objective was to turn a martyr. And that didn't work. And now they went to the High Court and what happened is there in public domain. As to the question of OBC and the census they are talking about, when Sitaramaya was in full power, he did not think about it, nor did he give out any information about it. But the election time is the time when they're bothered about OBCs. People know, by now there is a strong reasoning among people. These are election time tactics and the dynast plays it, and whether he'll get success in it is in the people's court. Let them decide.
Okay. All right. Mr. Vadakan, thank you for joining us. Let's go back to my colleague Pallavi, who's with us. Pallavi, could you really break down for our audiences how this might possibly play out in the Karnataka scenario? Our audiences may or may not know the changes that the BJP made very recently to reservation percentages and how caste has recently entered the conversation, particularly through a number of Rahul Gandhi's comments there. Can you bring us context?
See, I think the Congress's strategy is very clear. They want to counter this whole narrative which has been pushed by the BJP that Rahul Gandhi's comments in Kolar were actually anti-OBC community. As I was pointing out, OBCs plus Dalits make a huge chunk of the voters as far as Karnataka is concerned. And I don't think the Congress party, which is hoping to make a comeback in the state, would want to lose out on that. So therefore, they threw a googly, and that googly has been that let's go in ahead for a caste census. And it's the BJP who's actually stopping this kind of a caste census to take place. So both the BJP and the Congress are clearly playing the caste card. The BJP, of course, saying that Rahul Gandhi's comments are anti-OBC. We are seeing that matter already in court. The Congress insisting on a caste census, two playing the caste card. And of course, the fact that one of the fronts that they're going to put up and most high-profile faces they're going to put out is Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress president, but also someone who belongs to the backward community. So that is how this entire narrative is expected to enter the poll fray in Karnataka. What happens in courts today, what could happen in High Court if it happens in the midst of the Karnataka elections, will be used by both the sides to make their own political points. And we've been putting out those political points on the table. BJP, Congress certainly would want to use it, and why not? And very quickly, Toya, remember the first place Rahul Gandhi went to when he began his campaign in Karnataka was the same Kolar where he went back in 2019. Over there too, he spoke about the Adani issue. So as far as Rahul Gandhi goes, his messaging is very clear. I'm not scared. I'm going to keep on asking the tough questions.
Okay. Pallavi, if I could just ask you to stay with us. Lawyer Swapnil Kothari is actually with us on the phone right now. Sir, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on CNN News 18. Sir, first, a clear question for you. How do you see these developments?
Well, I think he's got no choice but to go to a higher court now because if the court has dismissed this appeal and upheld the conviction which was there, given by the lower Surat court, then I think, he has to accept it and obviously, again, now apply for the suspension of the sentence pending his appeal to the higher court. So his lawyers have a tough time now, given that the 2 tiers of the court have held him to be a convict for defamation and not even reduced his sentence from the 2 years. So he stands disqualified any which ways from Lok Sabha as a Lok Sabha MP, because that section is very apparent that the moment you get convicted, you are out. So there is very little room for him to maneuver there now, or for anybody for that matter to maneuver, because you have to comply with the law. And in fact, there was earlier debate held in many courts that this conviction, given the fact that convictions come very late in this country, until then the people who are guilty of their crime but awaiting the conviction or awaiting the decision are enjoying the full panoply of their Lok Sabha privileges, should be sort of not, instead of the word convicted, some other word should be used, but then that debate is just in limbo at the moment. But sorry for the digression, but I just wanted to put that into perspective.
Right.
So the fact is that now if the conviction is there, there is very little room. Now he has to go to a higher court, as simple as that. And I don't know if at all he is going to stand any chance, even in the higher court or even for that matter in the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Because it seems to me to be, fighting for a lost cause. Let's put it that way. It seems like, the statements that have been made by him are taken very seriously by the court. And, I personally think so that, an apology also would have been appropriate, but I don't think he's tendered any apology for that matter.
He hasn't, yeah. He's in fact stuck to his
Apology,
guns.
yeah, exactly. When you put an apology on an affidavit, the court still then tends to relent a little bit. But then when you sort of make a statement and say that, no, I stand by my statement, it's like, somebody making a statement today that all people with surname Gandhis are, whatever you want to say, whatever convicts or whatever, or kidnappers or whatever, how someone will feel, even an ordinary man with a Gandhi surname or an ordinary woman with a Gandhi surname across the country. So, these appellations, this is something which courts have always frowned upon, is appellations. Do not give these kind of appellations or these general blanket non-sequiturs.
Mr. Kothari, do stay with us. We have Manikam Tagore, an MP from the Congress, with us right now on the phone. Sir, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Sir, we were speaking right now to the lawyer Swapnil Kothari, and one of the things he was pointing towards was that courts typically look at if someone who makes a statement like this is apologetic. And we've seen one thing, Rahul Gandhi has very much stuck to his guns around this statement. Sir, does the Congress remain hopeful, keeping that in mind, that this case might be looked at differently by the Gujarat High Court and the Supreme Court?
Yeah, we have full faith in the judicial system, and we all believe that there will be a real justice being done to us in the higher courts, because we all know that Gujarat, how systems are being functioning, and we all know another fact also. We should not forget that the Honorable Judicial Magistrate was representing Mr. Amit Shah in his Shabuddin fake encounter case also. We should not forget that truth also. And because we are hopeful that the High Court and the Supreme Court are available for us, and the truth will prevail and justice will be given to ourselves.
So I'm seeing you actually have also put out this on Twitter that the Surat judge hearing Rahul Gandhi's appeal was Amit Shah's lawyer in the 2006 encounter case. You actually put that out on Twitter too. I do want to understand though from you, sir, it is rare for a high court to go against what a sessions court in its own state has said. Does the Congress still remain hopeful?
No, we are hopeful on not the state base. It is not a Gujarat or Karnataka or Uttar Pradesh or something. We believe that India's judicial system is alive and there will be justice done in the higher courts. In the lower courts like Gujarat and others, how the justice system is fumbling and how the people from the RSS has penetrated into the system is the greatest painful part. And there is a true justice for justice system available in that kind of places. Therefore, we always believe that the Indian judicial system should be bipartisan and it should be it should deliver justice to the poorest man and to the highest man also. The same level of balance should be there.
Okay, all right. Mr. Tagore, thank you for joining us. That was Congress MP Manikam Tagore. Now, something I do want to take you to right now is what Purnesh Modi, he is the MLA who actually led to this case taking place. We're going to take you to what he had to say in a few minutes too. He's given us his reaction to this entire case, and we'll bring it for you in just a few seconds. But before we do, let's bring you all of the proceedings so far and what could possibly take place next. As my colleague Pallavi was telling us, it is highly likely, in fact it is expected, that the Congress will now take this to a court in Gujarat, and then possibly, if they need to the Supreme Court. But first, let's take a look at what Purnesh Modi, the man who led to this entire case, arriving in Surat and then led to all of these repercussions, what he had to say in reaction. Take a look.
निचली अदालत में जो फैसला था उसके सामने अपील की थी, उस अपील में दलील के बाद आज जज साहब ने फैसला सुनाया है और मैसेज इतना मुझे मिल गया है कि श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी की जो अर्जी थी वो कोर्ट ने रिजेक्ट कर दी है। अब आगे देखते हैं क्या प्रोसीजर है, जजमेंट है, उसके बाद आपको मैं कुछ बताऊंगा। धन्यवाद। પૂર્ણેશ મોદી સમસ્ત ગુજરાતી મૂળ મોદી સમાજના કાર્યકારી પ્રમુખની જવાબદારી અને સાથે સાથે ભાજપના અમે ધારાસભ્ય। નીચલી અદાલતે શ્રીમાન રાહુલ ગાંધીને 2 વર્ષની સજાનો ફેસલો સુનાવ્યા પછી 3 તારીખે સેશન્સ કોર્ટમાં શ્રીમાન રાહુલ ગાંધીજીએ અપીલ કરી હતી। 13 તારીખે એની દલીલ થઈ। આજનો જે ચુકાદો હતો એમાં મળતી માહિતી મુજબ શ્રીમાન રાહુલ ગાંધીજીની જે અરજી હતી એ કોર્ટે રિજેક્ટ કરી છે, એ માહિતી મને મળી છે। વધુ માહિતી જજમેન્ટ અને કોર્ટ્સ પેપર આવ્યા પછી અમે જણાવીશું। ધન્યવાદ।
Okay, you heard over there from Purnesh Modi. Now we're going to wait for a second till we have reporters join us to bring us more context on what all of these developments could pan out as over the next few months and what this could potentially mean for the Congress's 2024 bid. But remember, let's walk you through each of these developments as we await reporters joining us to bring us more context on the story. My colleague Shireen has been present this entire time on the ground outside Rahul Gandhi's bungalow, where, remember, he's gotten a notice to vacate his bungalow after his disqualification as a Lok Sabha MP. Now, on air, we're showing you how the Congress is responding. This is senior leader of the Congress, Jairam Ramesh. We're going to be playing out multiple reactions for you. Jairam Ramesh saying the same thing we heard Manikam Tagore, a senior Congress MP, say, that the Congress does continue to believe in the justice and in the judiciary system of the country, and once again saying that they will avail all legal options, that they will next, as they were expected to, approach the High Court. Remember, options remain. First the High Court, and then, if needed, the Supreme Court. Now, my colleague Pallavi is with us to bring us a lot more in terms of context. Pallavi, I just want to ask you, a lot of experts, when this disqualification first took place, said that there was a way for the Congress to spin this to their advantage, especially with the background of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. It could be spun to make Rahul Gandhi look like the victim of a ruthless political system, for example. Have we seen the Congress adopt that approach over the last few weeks?
Oh, of course, very much. Just quickly stepping back in history, 1977, when the court passed orders for the arrest of Indira Gandhi, she actually wanted the police to handcuff her publicly, and the reason was very simple. You evoke sympathy, you get sympathy, and you bounce back politically. That's really been the strategy of most politicians cutting across party lines, and Rahul Gandhi certainly wants to emulate that, and he has been. I mean, you look at a couple of things which happened. The moment a disqualification notice, the moment the notice came in of disqualification, opposition parties got together. Rahul Gandhi himself goes to Surat, and he did not need to do so because lawyers can do it on your behalf, but he goes to court to file his appeal in a massive show of strength. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra accompanying him. He goes back to Kollar to begin his Karnataka campaign to make the point that, listen, I'm not scared, I'm going to keep on asking the tough questions, knowing very well that the verdict may not go in his favor today, he tweets out a video where he carries on his attack against Adani's. So from here on, if you're going to expect any change of guard or stand, I would say, of Rahul Gandhi on this entire issue, that's not going to be happening. They are definitely going to keep on attacking the system, the government and the Prime Minister, and also try and make the point that there's a reason why we are being crushed. Our mics are switched off, we are not shown inside Parliament, and now because Rahul Gandhi is the only one who most vociferously keeps on confronting the Prime Minister, he has been asked to leave the Parliament. Of course, if you go by the rule book, there's a reason why Rahul Gandhi had to be disqualified, because this was a rule and a law which was made during the times of the UPA itself. And therefore, as far as the central government is concerned and the BJP and the Speaker's office is concerned, they are very clear about one thing, is that Rahul Gandhi cannot get away by saying that his voice has been silenced. He had to be disqualified because this is as per law. But politicians are politicians, Toya, and that's the reason why Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party would want to use this issue to their advantage.
Okay, Pallavi, if you could just stay with us, I want to go over to our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar, who stayed with us. Ananya, we spoke a little while earlier to the lawyer Swapnil Kothari, and he said that if Rahul Gandhi continues in this manner and continues to double down on his statement and the sentiment behind it, it could make his case harder to fight in the Gujarat High Court and potentially in the Supreme Court. Is that accurate? Could you bring us context?
Well, definitely, Swapnil was actually right. The conduct of accused is something that is of a seminal importance when any kind of appeal is being decided on or any kind of appeal is being discussed upon. And when this order actually comes out today, the detailed order copy of the dismissal of the stay application, we'll have to see as to what reasons have been mentioned by the court, whether the court has considered all of those arguments, and in fact a very, very categorical observation of the trial court which had actually convicted Rahul Gandhi, clearly noting that, you know, the Supreme Court had warned Rahul Gandhi, but still he continued to make certain kind of statements, and that's the reason why, in fact, that was a major reason why his conviction has actually been, you know, upheld by the court, and now at this point of time no kind of stay has been granted. So is that the reason? We'll get to know in a short while when the detailed order copy actually comes out. But at the same point of time, Swapnil was rightly pointing out that, you know, the conduct of accused is very, very important, and Mr. R.S. Cheema had shown that's the reason why Mr. R.S. Cheema had continuously said that, you know, Rahul Gandhi is somebody who has remained a member of the parliament. He's a respected member of the parliament, and that's the reason why, in fact, this conviction has resulted in the losing on disqualification of Gandhi as a president of as a member of parliament. And now what happens next is that he will have to approach the Gujarat High Court. How long does it take? How well does the lawyers prepare, and when will Rahul Gandhi be going to the Gujarat High Court is a matter of time. We'll get to know in some time from now or in a few days from now, and then he will have to you know, adjudicate his appeal before the Gujarat High Court. And if even the Gujarat High Court refuses to grant any kind of a relief to Rahul Gandhi, he will have to then approach the Supreme Court of India.
Okay, Ananya, thank you for that context. We are moving away just for a second from this story. As we speak today, the Ministry of Culture is inaugurating the Global Buddhist Summit. Before we do that, though, we are going to go over to T.S. Singh Deo. He's a very, very senior leader who's with us, and therefore I do want to go over to him before we move on to a different story. Sir, thank you for joining us here on CNN News 18. Sir, I just want to understand from you, it seems clear that the Congress is going to be taking this first to the Gujarat court, and then, if it needs to go, even to the Supreme Court. But sir, I do want to understand, a number of legal eagles we've had on the show over the last few hours have said that if Rahul Gandhi continues to remain defiant, it may make it harder for him to fight his case in court. Sir, to that, what do you have to say?
It is not a matter of being defiant. What Rahulji does is stand up to a situation.
Okay.
There are very, very few people today in the country who are standing up to what is being meted out politically. This is not the way a democracy is seen or had been envisioned to work either in the country or anywhere. And somebody needs to stand up. He is fulfilling that role, and he is being made to pay in these terms, whether it is inquiries against him, other senior persons in the Congress, other leaders in the Congress, or other opposition leaders who don't seem to fall in line. So it is a series of incidents that now seems to be adding up one after the other. And in that sequence, this matter is being dealt through the courts. I don't see any reason why Rahul ji should be the first person in the country to have been given the maximum sentence, which is leading to his disqualification. Has anybody else in a contempt proceeding been given a 2-year sentence? I am not aware of it. So why Rahul Gandhi being singled out? I see it only as the only reason I see it is he is a person who's standing up to this bullying.
All right, sir. Sir, thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing us your reaction. That is T.S. Singh Deo. He is the health minister in Chhattisgarh. He's joined us right now to share with us his response. Okay, we're going to be heading into a short break. We're going to continue to cover this story on the other side. That's all that we have for you. We'll see you in a few minutes on our next story. This is the breaking news.
And post that also, the UP has done its responsibility. When you talk about a parochial mindset, sir, I will not even engage in that, because if Mr. Siddaramaiah had not spoken about these 31 Kannadigas who are part of his state, who are his people, would you have even known about the plight of the thousands of others? You would not. Would you have even made that contact with them? You would have not. And this is not the first time. Twitter has been an asset for people in order of communication from the time of Ms. Sushma Swaraj onwards. A lot of these responses and these sort of requests have come up, and the government, when it's convenient for them, they say we did this, and the power of social media. Okay. But when an opposition leader raises the voice for his people, it becomes parochial. All right. And so let me remind you, during COVID, what happened? It was each to their own. It was every state for themselves. It was migrants from UP, Bihar, migrants from here, there, whatever, while the central government stayed blank. While Karnataka also offered shelter, Karnataka looked after its own. I do not believe at any point you talk about this larger idea of a parochial mindset, but tell me, would you have voluntarily have offered up the
Ratan
fact that something
final word. I got to wrap up after that.
The people of what is happening?
Yeah, let him respond.
Absolutely not.
Final word, Ratan Sharda. I got to wrap up after that, Aishwarya. Thank you. Please yield. Yeah, thank you.
The first bit of Siddaramaiah, no Congress leader has spoken of all the 3,000 people. And again, to believe that, because I said every party has done its bit for evacuation, and do you think that government is sleeping till you make a tweet? This is how the government works? Sorry. Government eyes and ears are always open. They have evacuated people as and when, with complete courage, complete commitment. And you keep on speaking for last press only of 31 Kannadigas. That is the problem. 3,000 include Kannadiga. Now, for example, CNN didn't say which state this particular person was on the panel. They said Indian. So what's the harm in that? So that is why I say problem is your over propagandization of every issue, and that is what is going to hurt you, not the government or India.
All right. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. I want to first go across to Prabhu, who is an Indian national who's stranded in Sudan. I'll also be joined in a moment by Aishwarya Mahadev of the Congress. Ratan Sharda, RSS researcher and author, is also joining us. Prabhu, first things first. आपका स्थिति अभी कैसा है? आपका जो डेली नीड्स हैं, आप वो कैसे मैनेज कर रहे हैं? कहाँ पे फंसे हैं और आप कितने लोग हैं जो फंसे हैं सूडान में?
खाने के लिए तो हम लोग जो इस घर में आए थे, रेंट ले लिया था, तो जब भी हमारे पास ना दुकान खुली हुई थी तो रोज लाके खाना बना के खाते थे, दुकान सामने ही थी, तो हम स्टार्ट नहीं किया था, हमने रोज लाने का खाना पका के खाने का ये काम करते थे हम लोग जी। तो हमें कोई मैसेज नहीं मिली है ऐसा कुछ यहाँ फायर होने वाला है, तो हम कोई मैसेज नहीं मिली।
Welcome back. You're watching the breaking news show right here on CNN News 18, and we're welcoming you back with some very exciting news. We'd like to thank you, our viewers, as we complete 1 year at number 1. For 52 weeks, CNN News 18 has maintained a steadfast lead over our rivals, and my colleague, our managing editor Zaka Jacob, is with us this morning to bring us more context on what this lead has meant. Zaka, over to you.
All right, thank you to our viewers. I think it's an incredible achievement. I want to thank all of our viewers who've been watching us, not just for the last 52 weeks, throughout for the last many years. This channel is now in its 18th year. since beginning. And I think there couldn't be a better testimony for us, for CNN News 18 in its 18th year, to have this stamp, this absolutely undisputed and unbeatable stamp from the viewers, that for the last 1 year, for 52 weeks, we've been #1 across time bands, across different data points, across different viewer segments. I think it's an incredible achievement. So first of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the entire team here at CNN News 18 to our viewers, because I think it's an affirmation of the kind of news that CNN News 18 does. Middle of the road, non-hyper partisan, giving all sides their due respect and their due airtime, and allowing them to make their point. And most importantly, I feel, allowing the viewer to decide which side of the debate he or she wants to stand on. And I think that's an incredible affirmation, because for the last 52 weeks, they say a week is a long time in politics, a year is an eternity in television news broadcasting. I can attest for that. So the fact that for the last entire year, we have dominated the ratings, there is no parallel to this. Certainly not in recent times, where another channel has dominated the ratings in the kind of fashion that CNN News 18 has done. So a couple of things that I want to stress on. One, like I said, I think it's a great testament from our viewers to the kind of journalism, the kind of news stories that we bring, the tone, tenor, the quality, and the kind of stories that we are trying to tell that have happened around you today, tomorrow, and till forever. But the other important thing is, I think, to the team that has put this together. I said this a few weeks ago as well, when we finished 50 weeks at #1. For us, this journey began, I think, 3 years ago. It began around the same time when Corona hit the country, hit the world. The entire country went into lockdown. It was literally, for a young team here at CNN News 18, baptism by fire. We were working in multiple teams from multiple buildings, and we didn't know. Again, it was unprecedented. It was uncharted territory. No one knew how to deal with this disease and the lockdown, and these disparate teams working from different places and different time zones, etc. So overcoming all of that, putting in the hard yards over the last 3 years to get this kind of an affirmation. This is a huge thumbs up from our viewers for what we have done over the last 3 years. But 1 year of non-stop, undefeated, unbeaten #1, I think it's a great testament to the young team here at CNN News 18 that has kept it together, that has worked hard, and that has brought you the news day in, day out, without swinging by all this, hyperbole that you see on news television, and a lot of viewers out there are put off by it. So I think, once again, thank you to our viewers for, reaffirming that it is possible to do middle of the road, non-partisan, non-hyper, not having to, thump your chest kind of journalism, and yet, get mass viewership and mass support for it. So thank you once again from the entire team here at CNN News 18, and from me, from the bottom of my heart. I think this is great validation for us and for this young team here to continue on this path, to try and tread further on this path, and to continue bringing you stories that we believe are making a difference to your lives. So thank you very much once again to all our viewers.
Zaka, could you just highlight, because this is something you've always told us in the newsroom, could you highlight for us all the different pieces that there are involved in making each news story, right from the camera person on the ground to the reporters on the ground to the different pieces that work together to make a news come alive on air?
I think that's a great question. For viewers sitting at home and watching this broadcast, you see Toya, you see me, you see some of our reporters who come on air, you see some of our anchors who bring you shows through the dayside programming as well as prime time. But Team CNN News 18 is a vast swathe of people who are behind the scenes, from assignment folks who are our people on our input desk, where all the news from around the world and around the country come to them. We have our output desk, which then collates it and puts it on air. We have our social media team, who then publicize all of these stories and publish them on social media. We have video editors who have to edit footage. After all, it is an audio-visual medium. So we have video editors who, edit the best pictures and make it available to you. We have graphic artists who enhance enhance the video quality with graphic elements. We have camera persons who shoot some of the most defining images, some of the most defining visuals of the day, and send it across for our teams to use on broadcast and on social. So I think it's great testimony to not just the folks who come on air and who present the news or who are reporters, but this is a great affirmation for all of those people who are working behind the scenes, because without them, this product would not come out in the form and fashion that it does day in and day out. So I think it's a great hat tip, as far as I'm concerned, to camera persons, input desk folks, output desk folks, social media folks, video editors, graphic personnel, producers, all of them who are behind the scenes, who are toiling just as hard, in fact, probably even more hard than the folks who come on air and put this product, deliver this product at the kind of quality that you see day in and day out. So I think, again, a tip of my hat to all of those folks who are working and toiling away behind the scenes, away from all this glitz and glamour and the camera arc lights. They are the ones who are truly representatives of brand CNN News 18, because they are the ones who are making this brand, they are the ones who are putting together this brand, and they are the ones who are putting this brand out there day in and day out. So thank you to all of those folks behind the scenes who've been working hard to make this product the success that it has become today.
Okay, and Zaka, if I could ask you one more question. Of course, one of the things we say is that every story is important. But in the last year, if you could just walk our audiences through what some of the stories that have stayed with you have been, and what the process of bringing that story to life. As you were saying, people right from the ground to the newsroom. So what that process has looked like.
Oh, we've had incredible stories over the last 1 year. To start with, we've had a war, and that war is still continuing, the Russia-Ukraine war. And it has had implications far beyond the shores of those countries. It has had implications here for us in India, implications across the world. Global geopolitics has changed because of that. Domestically too, we've had multiple elections. We've had the big UP elections that happened here. Then we had the Gujarat and Himachal elections at the fag end of last year. And now we're again back in election season with Karnataka going to poll. So we've had multiple, domestic elections which have had, wider ramifications for the country over the last year or so. We've had big political developments. India's hosting the G20 this year, so we've had a run-up of events in the lead-up to the big summit that happens in September. We've had an earthquake in Turkey. We've had multiple, cataclysmic events that have had a huge bearing. No matter where they've happened, they've had an impact here in India, and vice versa. Events that have happened here in India, which have had an impact around the world. So it's been fascinating this last year, news-wise, and I think that's also one of the reasons why our viewers have affirmed that what they really want to see is the news. They want to see what is happening around them, why it's important, and they want them they want folks to tell them why something has happened and why they should care about those events in a non-partisan, non-hyper kind of way. And I think that's what CNN News 18 has managed to do over the last 52 weeks. So once again, like I said, this is an incredible achievement for any TV channel. I can't think of a comparable sort of record in the recent past for any channel, not just in the English space, but frankly across languages spaces as well, whether it's in Hindi or in regional languages. I can't think of a channel that has dominated the ratings in this kind of fashion. So once again, I want to thank our viewers for reaffirming that we're doing something right. And I think that for us is the biggest validation. The biggest validation from our viewers is that you guys are on the right track. Keep going. We want more of what you're doing. And I think that is something that we are extremely, extremely thrilled about.
Zaka, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for bringing us your perspective on this. I'd also, once again, like Zaka said, like to thank our viewers. We like to maintain an open platform here. So continue to give us feedback on any of our social media platforms about what you've liked in the manner in which we've covered stories over the last 1 year. Thank you for joining us over this one last year. CNN News 18 closing out 1 year of leadership as #1. Thank you for watching. And that's all that we have for you here on the show.
Yashvi Surya is This government has rescued stranded Indians from Yemen, from Libya, from Ukraine. So then why are you politicizing this just because there is an election? Let the government and its agencies do their job in evacuating these Indian citizens from Sudan. How do you respond to that?
Good evening, Zaka. I think first and foremost, these Indians there, or the Kannadigas also that we've highlighted, have been there for the past 4 or 5 days without food and water. It was yesterday when the former Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, tweeted and saying these are vulnerable communities that have traveled there and they are stuck. Kindly help them. That was when the focus and the attention shifted towards it. That was when the Ministry of External Affairs and, of course, Mr. Jaishankar, with his appalling sort of response, came out to tell us that these things were happening. But please tell me, how much media attention was on this situation before that? One. Second, how many people had established contact to reassure these people stranded there? Two. And third, is it really wrong for a former head of a state to ask the central government for help and assistance for his people who are stranded abroad? There is no politicization. My former CM did not say a war was completely stopped, as a former of a BJP president did, saying a complete war was stopped to bring back people. This is not politicization. It is appalling that a man, when asked to do his job, turns around and tells a former chief minister of a state that this is appalling. You are politicizing this issue. There is no politicization.
So let me ask Ratan Sharda, the job of any politician, whether it's chief minister or former chief minister or a minister, whatever it is, the job of any politician is to respond to his or her constituents. Constituents reach out, and then the job of the politician is to try and extend help or get the government to extend help. So the Congress is claiming that that's all Siddaramaiah did. There was no need for that rather terse response from the External Affairs Minister saying that this is appalling and you're playing politics. He's, after all, responding to his constituents.
Zaka, a politician is not just responsible for his small constituency, he is also responsible for the nation. You are a chief minister of a state and you know that around 3,000 people are stuck in Sudan. You talk of only 31 people? How parochial can you get? How parochial and how narrow-minded can you be? You are a Congress and All India party is now trying to narrow itself down to a regional party and behaving like a DMK. Karnataka is the most cosmopolitan state, and people have, and the state has been welcoming all. When you talk of only 31 people or 3,000, and then you make a public tweet giving the location of the person, is that right? Government has done, every government in the past, this government in its own term has done wonderful evacuation, whether Operation Sankat Mochan, Operation Ganga, Operation Rahat, where even foreigners have been rescued. Do you think lack of media attention means lack of government attention? So trying to say that because of that tweet, suddenly government woke up, I think I'm not understood. They have got thousands and thousands of people, a record number of people evacuated. When you talk of only one kind of.
Hello, welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Grihatul Siddiqui. At the top of 12 p.m., we have got a news of a huge setback for the Congress party, as the Surat court today dismissed Rahul Gandhi's plea to stay his conviction and the 2-year sentence in a criminal defamation suit that was filed against him. Now, this means that Rahul Gandhi cannot be reinstated as a member of the parliament. The Congress will now move to a higher court, and the Sessions Court, remember, had heard the plea as well as the contentions of the complainant BJP leader Purnesh Modi on April 13th and reserved its verdict in this matter today. Gandhi had argued that the trial court treated him harshly after being influenced by his status as a member of parliament. Now remember, Rahul lost his Lok Sabha seat after being convicted in the 2019 Modi surname remark case, and there is a setback that's coming in from the Sessions Court as well today. Let's cut across live to the lawyer's press conference to get a sense of what exactly has happened at the Sessions Court today.
सर पहले हिंदी में सर बताइए સાહેબ આજે કોર્ટની અંદર શું પ્રક્રિયા થઈ અને કઈ રીતનું જજમેન્ટ આવ્યું સૌથી પહેલા આજરોજ નામદાર અદાલતે જજમેન્ટ આપેલું છે એ જજમેન્ટની અંદર એમને તમામ કાયદાકીય મુદ્દાને ઉપર આધાર રાખેલો છે એવું ઠરાવેલું છે કે મારા અસીલ પૂર્ણેશભાઈ મોદી અને મોદી સમાજ એ એગ્રીડ વ્યક્તિ છે એટલે કે જેને અસર થતી હોય એમની પિટિશન એમની કમ્પ્લેન મેન્ટેનેબલ છે. બીજો મુદ્દો, જ્યારે સમન્સ વગેરે ઇસ્યુ કરવામાં આવેલા એ પ્રોસેસ પણ યોગ્ય રીતે ઇસ્યુ કરવામાં આવેલી છે અને એનો કોઈ બ્રીચ નથી. ત્રીજી વસ્તુ, લર્નેડ મેજિસ્ટ્રેટ જેમણે ઓર્ડર પાસ કર્યો એમણે બધા જ મુદ્દાઓનો વ્યવસ્થિત અભ્યાસ કરેલો છે અને ઓર્ડર હાલના તબક્કે યોગ્ય છે. ઉપરાંતમાં જે એપેલન્ટ આરોપી છે એ રેરેસ્ટ ઓફ રેર કેસ કે એક્સેપ્શનલ કેસ સાબિત કરવામાં નિષ્ફળ ગયેલા છે. આ કેસ સમક્ષ એસ્ટાબ્લિશ કરવામાં નિષ્ફળ ગયેલા છે. ઉપરાંતમાં એમની કન્ડક્ટ પણ ધ્યાને લેવામાં આવેલી છે, એની સામે ગુના પેન્ડિંગ છે પણ ધ્યાને લેવામાં આવેલું છે. જે કાયદાકીય મુદ્દાઓ અને જજમેન્ટનો આધાર આરએસ ચીમા સાહેબે રાખેલો, એટલે કે આરોપીના વકીલે, એ જજમેન્ટ આમાં લાગુ પડતા નથી. અમારા જે જજમેન્ટ છે બધા લાગુ પડે છે તેવું પણ ઠરાવેલું છે. મારો જે મુખ્ય કાયદાકીય મુદ્દો હતો કે કોઈ પણ એમપી કે એમએલએ કે ફંડામેન્ટલ અધિકાર નથી, પણ એ માત્ર કાયદાકીય અધિકાર છે, એટલે કે રેપ્રેઝન્ટેશન ઓફ પીપલ એક્ટ નીચે છે. એ મુદ્દો પણ ધ્યાને લેવામાં આવેલો છે. રેપ્રેઝન્ટેશન ઓફ પીપલ એક્ટમાં જે પ્રોવિઝન છે એ પ્રોવિઝનને પણ ધ્યાને લેવો જોઈએ અને એમપી એમએલએ નું જે કાંઈ પણ એમની કન્ડક્ટ હોય એ રીતે ગવર્ન થાય. આ બધા મુદ્દાઓ ધ્યાને લઈ અને યોગ્ય રીતે ઓર્ડર કરવામાં આવેલો છે. મહત્વના મુદ્દા બંને બાજુ
કયા મહત્વના મુદ્દા હતા કે જે
બંને બાજુના તમામે કરવામાં આવેલો છે અને હજી તો ડિટેલમાં જજમેન્ટ મારા હાથમાં આવશે. આખું અભ્યાસ કરીને પછી આગળ ઉપર કહી શકું.
We are still awaiting detailed judgment and we'll take decision accordingly.
Not an exceptional case. Court should be careful while suspending the conviction and it should not be passed any mechanically. ઉપરાંતમાં એમનો જે ચૂંટાવાનો અધિકાર છે, મેં આપને જે કીધું એ પ્રમાણે, એ ચૂંટાવાનો અધિકાર એ એમનો કાયદાકીય અધિકાર છે, એ કોઈ કોન્સ્ટિટ્યુશનલ અધિકાર કે કોમન લો રાઇટ નથી. આ બધા મુદ્દા એમણે ધ્યાને લીધેલા છે અને એમની સામેના ગુના જે પેન્ડિંગ છે, એમની કન્ડક્ટ વગેરે વગેરે.
We have taken into consideration our constitutional right and we will act accordingly.
हिंदी में ऑल राइट. टुडे आज कोर्ट ने अपना फैसला सुनाया है और ये कोर्ट का जो फैसला है उसमें उन्होंने कायदाकीय और फैक्ट्स के जितने भी पॉइंट्स थे वो सारे उन्होंने डिस्कस किए हुए. दोनों ओर से जो भी आर्ग्यूमेंट हुई उसमें उल्लेख है. उसका नतीजा ये है कि जो मेरे क्लाइंट है पूर्णेश मोदी, ही इज एन एग्रीड पर्सन. वो कंप्लेन करने के लिए कॉम्पिटेंट है. जो मोदी समाज है वो कंप्लेन करने के लिए कॉम्पिटेंट है. दूसरा जो मुद्दा है ये है कि जो प्रोसेस इश्यू हुई थी वो सही तरीके से हुई है, उसमें कोई इरेगुलरिटी नहीं है जिससे कि ट्रायल विशिएट हो. ये दो टेक्निकल पॉइंट थे, उनका जवाब दिया हुआ है. तीसरा जो उन लोगों का पॉइंट था रेरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस, तो उसके बारे में भी कोर्ट ने सही तरीके से सारे जजमेंट के ऊपर आधार रख के उन्होंने डिस्कशन किया हुआ है कि दिस इज नॉट अ रेरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस कि जिसमें कन्विक्शंस को सस्पेंड किया जा सके. ये तीसरा मुद्दा है. चौथा मुद्दा कंडक्ट ऑफ द एक्यूज. ही इज बीइंग एमपी नीड टू बी मोर केयरफुल. और उन्होंने जो कोर्ट के समक्ष उनका जो व्यवहार था, जो उनके क्रिमिनल उनके सामने केसेस है, वो भी डिस्कस किया हुआ है. प्लस मेरा एक कायदाकीय मुद्दा ये था कि कोई भी एमएलए या एमपी, उनको राइट टू बी इलेक्टेड, वो उनका कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल या कॉमन लॉ राइट नहीं है. ज्यादा से ज्यादा रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ पीपल एक्ट के तहत ये उनका राइट है, तो उससे वो ज्यादा कुछ क्लेम नहीं कर सकते हैं. ये भी कोर्ट ने मुद्दा कंसिडर किया हुआ है. And when it comes to suspension of the conviction, all these points are relevant, that is taken into consideration. This is the order.
सर ये इलेक्शन कंटेस्ट करने की जो राइट बोला था राहुल गांधी लॉयर्स एक्सेप्ट दिस इज अ वायलेशन ऑफ हिज राइट्स एंड दिस इज गोइंग टू अफेक्ट.
उन्होंने बोला था, उसके लिए हमारी ओर से सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स रखे गए थे कि ये कोई एक्सेप्शनल सर्कमस्टांस नहीं होता है. बीइंग एमएलए एमपी और उनका राइट टू बी इलेक्टेड, वो कोई ऐसा एक्सेप्शनल केस में नहीं आता है. इरिवर्सिबल सिचुएशन में वो नहीं आता है. और हमारा एक मुद्दा ये था कि अगर कोई एडवोकेट गलती करता है तो उनकी सनद सस्पेंड हो सकती है. डॉक्टर गलती करता है, उनकी सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ प्रैक्टिस सस्पेंड होता है. गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट कुछ गलत करता है तो उनकी जॉब चली जाती है. वैसे ही अगर एमपी के सामने कोई कन्विक्शन होता है तो उनका एमपी का डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन होगा. इसमें देयर इज नथिंग व्हिच इज एक्सेप्शनल.
सर हाई कोर्ट में इसको चैलेंज करने की बात कर रही है सर. हाई कोर्ट में
Sir, the court has very categorically in its order said that Rahul had made defamatory speeches. The detailed order copy also goes on to say that being a member of the parliament, he should have been more careful. How do you react to all of these observations that have been made?
There is no question of reaction. This is all are the legal submissions and the legal finding given by the honorable court. So whatever the order is passed by the court, that is appropriate. That is always one has to respect, and that order is quite just, legal and proper.
Sir, when you filed the reply before the court against this stay of conviction application, a very categorical submission was made by you, and I remember that Mr. Rahul Gandhi did a show of strength in order to subsidize the judiciary in this case. If you could elaborate on that point and what would you like to say?
That is already part of the record, so nothing more is required to be said. That is part of the record. We already stated in the reply. Because whatever I would say today, quite possible that may be put otherwise in any of the court of laws. Yet the matter is go to the High Court. As all of you have said, I am not aware whether they are going to file appeal or anything. So in that case, any statement made by the lawyer or anything may not be misused. Therefore, it is better. What is part of the record is already part of the record. We have put up that what kind of things have happened at the time of filing of the appeal, at the time of delivery of the judgment, etc. And that is what you have.
One last question before I let you go is that Mr. Chima, when he was arguing this particular case, he had constantly said that, you know, this appeal is not maintainable in nature, this is not a case that is there. What were your counter arguments? What did you say before the court actually to counter this submission?
They argued that the complaint is not mentionable because Mr. Purnesh Modi is not the aggrieved person. He answered that they are aggrieved person relying on the law related to the defamation under section 419 and 500. That is accepted by the magistrate also and now by the appellate court also at this stage in the application for suspension of the conviction.
Are you hopeful that the main appeal would also be dismissed by the court?
Too early to say anything, but every lawyer would be very much hopeful about his case. I am lawyer for this application under section 389 subclause 1 as of now. We'll see when the appeal would come for the final hearing. I can't say anything today. But according to me, the order is just, legal and proper. The order passed by the magistrate, it is appropriate order and there is no infirmity. That's what I would say.
So this was in fact Mr. Harsha Satolia, who was arguing for Mr. Purnesh Modi in this particular case, and has clearly said that the orders of the court are very clear, and we have just now accessed the order copy as well in this particular case, and the order clearly goes on to say that being a member of the parliament at that point of time, Rahul should have been more careful. He even after clear warnings of the Supreme Court, he was not very careful in his speeches, and that's the reason why the court has felt that no kind of irrepressible damage or irreparable damage would happen even if Rahul's conviction is not stayed or he is disqualified as a member of the parliament. I am Anand Bhatnagar with video journalist Pramod Kumar for CNN News 18.
Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi should have been more careful in his speeches. That is what the court has said through its order copy. My colleague Pallavi Ghosh is joining with that exact same order copy that we have for our viewers to dissect this further. What is it that it entails? Pallavi, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a long order copy, around 27 pages, which has been put out by my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar. And I think the most important point which really stands out is this particular paragraph, where it actually pits the responsibility on Rahul Gandhi, saying that he's a member of parliament and he's the president of the second largest political party. Actually, he's the former president. But he also, looking at his stature, he should have been more careful with his words, which would have had a large impact on the mind of the people. So the comments which were coming from him was defamatory in nature, enough to cause mental agony to a aggrieved person, and in this case, by using these defamatory words, comparing persons having the surname Modi with thieves would definitely have caused mental agony and harm the reputation of the complainant, who is socially active and dealing in public. Now, this is a very key points. I would read this as 2 to 3 important points which could have a political bearing also post a verdict which came in from the Sessions Court. One, the point that he was an irresponsible parliamentarian. As a member of parliament, he should have been more careful with his words, because whatever he says, and he said this, mind you, at a rally in Kolar, whatever he would say then is likely to have a huge impact on the mind of the people. And the third and the most important point is when he talks about, the judge talks about the mental agony which could have gone to people of a particular community, because this is exactly the point which is being raised by the BJP, that Rahul Gandhi's comments are defamatory in nature because it targets one particular community, which is so unfair, which is against our norm. So in the entire crux of the 27-page argument essentially talks about the kind of laws which have been broken, the conventions which have been broken by Rahul Gandhi. And it's interesting that many references to other cases like that of Navjot Singh Sidhu's case too has been taken, where he talks about that how people who are in public life need to follow a moral path and also set high standards in public life. And how Navjot Singh Sidhu also had to step down. And here the clear reference to Rahul Gandhi is that why he needed to resign from his seat. The point which you also pointed out and which is very much a part of the order copy is that there is no irreparable damage in case Rahul Gandhi steps down as a member of parliament, because that is as per law. And therefore this hue and cry which is being raised by the Congress party is something which is absolutely unsubstantiated. So the key points which he pointed out on this particular page and which we were just talking about in detail, I think that's going to be the crux of the political battle between the BJP and the Congress.
Right, Pallavi, thank you so much for all of that information on what really does this order copy house. My colleague Sharon Elizabeth is also now joining us live from outside Rahul Gandhi's residence. Sharon, obvious question, what is the next step that is going to be, taken forward by the Congress camp there? However, it was a very, very confident Rahul Gandhi who'd come along with Priyanka, Ashok Gehlot when they were supposed to be appearing before, not in person, of course, but before the Sessions Court. But this verdict is going to be coming to them as a jolt.
Absolutely, but it was on very much expected lines is what some of the Congress leaders have been saying. They know that at Sessions Court they will not be getting a favourable verdict as far as the disqualification or staying the conviction against Rahul Gandhi is concerned. But that is why they always have been maintaining that this is going to be a long fight. And the moment the verdict was out, Jairam Ramesh, who is head of the media communication of the Congress party, has put out that they will in fact be fighting this. All the legal remedies that are available in front of them, all those will be used by the Congress party, will be used by Rahul Gandhi. But like you pointed out, what is next? Of course, knocking the doors of Gujarat High Court is something that is the next option for them. But meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi has to vacate the residence which is in Tughlaq Lane. He has to in fact vacate. We have seen how there were in last week, almost about 2 days, there were 2 trucks that were loaded with the belongings of Rahul Gandhi that were being vacated from his residence at Tughlaq Lane. So our new address for Rahul Gandhi at the moment is something that is going to be the next step that will be taken as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned. Second is, of course, what are going to be the legal remedies in front of them. They all have hopes as far as Supreme Court is concerned that they will be getting a favourable verdict in Supreme Court, but before that they will in fact be going to Delhi High Court. So right now at 4 p.m. is when Abhishek Manu Singhvi along with Jairam Ramesh will in fact be addressing a press conference as to what is going to be the legal options that they will be opting for. But right now at 12:30 again a press conference is in fact lined up here with Jairam Ramesh and Bhupender Singh Hooda, though it is on a different topic altogether, but they will of course be briefly touching upon what is going to be their stand as far as this verdict in Surat is concerned.
All right, Sharon, thank you so much. We are getting reactions from Mr. Arjun Ram Meghwal, BJP MLA. Let's take a look at that.
गालियां देना, देश के प्रति नफरत फैलाना, देश में बोलने नहीं दिया जाता, ऐसा विदेश में जाकर के कहना। अब ये कोलार की मीटिंग में बोला कौन था? राहुल गांधी क्यों बोले थे? इसका मतलब बोलने की आजादी है इस देश में, गाली देने की नहीं है, ये समझना पड़ेगा। और न्यायपालिका
So this is what has come out of the Surat Sessions Court. A huge setback there for the Congress party. Remember, Rahul Gandhi, along with other tall leaders of the Congress party and his sister Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, they had all gone to the Surat Sessions Court. Although it was not required of Rahul Gandhi to be physically present at the Surat Sessions Court as he had appealed for a stay on conviction. Yet, as a show of strength, he along with other senior leaders of the Congress party were all there. It did spell a lot of confidence that the Congress party is actually showing ahead of the verdict. However, after the statements of Purnesh Modi and others were recorded, there is an unfavourable verdict for the Congress party that's come out of the Surat Sessions Court. We are getting a press conference that is being spearheaded by Mr. Sambit Patra. It's currently on. Let's cut across to that.
और अब जब सूरत के अपीलिएट कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया है, उसका वर्डिक्ट आया है, पूरे देश में खुशी का माहौल है। और खास करके पिछड़े वर्ग में, जिसके प्रति राहुल गांधी के मन में वैमनस्य का भाव था, जिस पिछड़े वर्ग के लिए राहुल गांधी ने आपत्तिजनक शब्दों का प्रयोग किया था, उन्हें गाली देने का काम किया था, और इतना कुछ करने के बाद राहुल गांधी और गांधी परिवार को लगता था वो बच के निकल जाएंगे, वो नहीं हो पाया है। दिस इज आई वुड से स्लैप ऑन द फेस ऑफ द एरोगेंस ऑफ द गांधी फैमिली। ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का, और खास करके जो गांधी परिवार ये सोचती है कि हम कुछ भी कर लेंगे और हमारा कुछ नहीं बिगड़ेगा, आज सूरत के अपीलिएट कोर्ट से ये सिद्ध होता है कि कानून सबके लिए बराबर का है और कानून किसी के लिए भी अलग नहीं हो सकता है। हमें याद है जब ट्रायल कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया था तो राहुल गांधी, गांधी परिवार, कांग्रेस के लोग और एक इकोसिस्टम जो कांग्रेस के साथ रहती है, इन सब ने मिलकर एक ऐसा माहौल बनाया कि ये ट्रायल कोर्ट में कुछ गड़बड़ी थी। ये ट्रायल कोर्ट के जज और ट्रायल कोर्ट का पूरा जो सिस्टम था, कहीं ना कहीं वो बायस था। उन्होंने पक्षपात किया और राहुल गांधी को ट्रायल कोर्ट ने फंसाने की कोशिश की। राहुल गांधी का कोई इतना बड़ा जुर्म नहीं था। क्या हो गया अगर उसने ओबीसी समाज को गाली देने का काम किया? क्या हो गया अगर पिछड़े वर्ग को उसने चोर कह दिया? तो ये इतना बड़ा कोई जुर्म नहीं था, कहीं ना कहीं एक साजिश थी। दिस वॉज डेथ ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी इन इंडिया। और उसके कारण से सूरत के ट्रायल कोर्ट ने इस प्रकार का एक वर्डिक्ट राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ सुनाया, और नतीजा रहा कि राहुल गांधी आने वाले समय में इंडिया के पार्लियामेंट से एक तरह से डिस्क्वालीफाई हुए, और वो कानून भी उनके समय बनाया हुआ कानून था। मगर आज जब अपीलिएट कोर्ट से जजमेंट आता है तो एक बात स्पष्ट होता है कि दिस वाज नॉट डेथ ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी ऑफ इंडिया, दिस इज अ ब्लो ऑन द एरोगेंस ऑफ द गांधी फैमिली। ये लोकतंत्र समाप्त नहीं हुआ है। ये जो घमंड है गांधी परिवार का और खास करके राहुल गांधी का, उसके ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ा आघात है कोर्ट के माध्यम से। अपीलिएट कोर्ट को भी लगा कि देयर इज अ मेरिट। जिस प्रकार से पिछड़े वर्ग के खिलाफ, ओबीसी समाज के खिलाफ गाली गलौज करने का काम राहुल गांधी और उसके बाद राहुल गांधी को सपोर्ट करते हुए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने किया था, अपीलिएट कोर्ट कन्विंस होती है कि इसमें मेरिट है जो ट्रायल कोर्ट ने किया था, और राहुल गांधी जी के सेंटेंसिंग को कम नहीं किया जा सकता या उसे स्टे नहीं किया जा सकता। यह बहुत बड़ी बात है हिंदुस्तान के न्यायिक प्रणाली में। बंधुगण, राहुल गांधी जी को सेंटेंसिंग होने के पश्चात पूरे कांग्रेस पार्टी ने एक मोबिलाइजेशन किया था। गली गली में, नुक्कड़ नुक्कड़ में जो कांग्रेस के कार्यकर्ता थे, वो राहुल गांधी जी के मोबिलाइजेशन के कारण न्यायपालिका पर ठहर ठहर कर आक्रमण कर रहे थे। केवल हिंदुस्तान में ही नहीं, विदेशों के माध्यम से दूसरे देशों से हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट जारी कराने का काम भी कांग्रेस के कार्यकर्ता रह रह के करा रहे थे। एक इकोसिस्टम पूरी की पूरी इंडिया की जुडिशियरी के खिलाफ लग गई थी। और आज जब यह जजमेंट आया है, मैं कहूंगा दिस इज द विक्ट्री ऑफ द कॉमन पीपल ऑफ इंडिया। यह साधारण जनता के लिए तो विजय का उत्सव है ही, पिछड़े वर्ग के लिए विजय का उत्सव है ही, यह न्यायपालिका के लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा विजय है। क्योंकि जिस न्यायपालिका के खिलाफ सड़कों पर आंदोलन करके मोबिलाइजेशन करने का काम कांग्रेस पार्टी कर रही थी, आज उसी न्यायपालिका ने कहा कि आप कितना भी दबाव या प्रेशर की राजनीति हमारे ऊपर करने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं, मगर वी डोंट बकल अंडर प्रेशर। आपके प्रेशर टैक्टिक्स के कारण, आपके दबाव की राजनीति के कारण न्यायपालिका झुकती नहीं है। जो अन्याय है वो अन्याय है। इतना ही नहीं, आपने देखा था उनके जो नेता हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी के, राज्यसभा के अंदर कई बार के सांसद रहे हैं, प्रमोद तिवारी जी, वो तो 2 कदम आगे निकलकर और कह रहे थे कि ये तो गांधी परिवार के लड़के हैं, ये राहुल गांधी केवल साधारण मनुष्य नहीं है, ये साधारण हिंदुस्तानी नहीं है, ये तो गांधी परिवार का सदस्य है, उनके नाम में गांधी लगा हुआ है, इसलिए द लॉ शुड ट्रीट हिम डिफरेंटली। कानून इनको भिन्न करके इनके साथ वर्ताव करना चाहिए था। न्यायालय को इस प्रकार 2 वर्ष का जेल नहीं सुनाना चाहिए था, क्योंकि ये राहुल गांधी हैं। ये कोई और होते तो ठीक है भैया, तुम 2 साल के जेल में जाओ, हमें क्या जा रहा है। मगर राहुल गांधी हैं, इसलिए गांधी परिवार के लिए एक दूसरा मानदंड हो, गांधी परिवार के लिए कानून दूसरी परिभाषित हो। देयर शुड बी अ सेपरेट लॉ फॉर द गांधी फैमिली। यहां तक डिमांड उनके मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट ने किया था, प्रमोद तिवारी जी ने किया था। ये पब्लिक डोमेन में मौजूद है। और आज के इस जजमेंट से एक बात स्पष्ट होता है कि इस देश में संविधान का राज है, परिवार का राज नहीं है। और किसी भी परिवार के लिए प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट नहीं हो सकता है, उसे अलग दृष्टिकोण से देखा जाएगा। ऐसा ट्रीटमेंट किसी भी परिवार के लिए नहीं हो सकता है। बंधुगण, आज हार 2 एंटिटीज की हुई है। 2 ऐसे मानदंड है जिनका हार हुआ है। एरोगेंस ऑफ द गांधी फैमिली, गांधी परिवार के घमंड का आज हार हुआ है। और दूसरा, ये जो पूरा का पूरा इकोसिस्टम है गांधी परिवार के डिफेंस में जो उतरता है सड़कों पर, उसमें कांग्रेसी तो हैं ही, क्योंकि वो कांग्रेसी तो पार्टी के लोग हैं, मगर कुछ बहुत बड़े बड़े लोग ऐसे देश और विदेश में बैठे हुए हैं जिनको हम इकोसिस्टम कह सकते हैं, जो तुरंत गांधी परिवार के एरोगेंस के डिफेंस में निकल आते हैं कि जो राहुल गांधी के साथ हो रहा है ये उचित नहीं है। आज ये हार इस इकोसिस्टम का भी है। मैं कहूंगा कि आज जो हुआ है राहुल गांधी के साथ, जिस समय ये पूरा जजमेंट सूरत के ट्रायल कोर्ट ने सुनाया था, उस समय भी सूरत के ट्रायल कोर्ट ने राहुल गांधी को कोर्ट के परिसर में अपने समक्ष ये मौका दिया था कि राहुल जी, अभी भी समय है, यदि आप हाथ जोड़ के माफी मांग लें ओबीसी समाज से कि आपने गलत किया है, आपने सही नहीं किया है, तो हम विचार करेंगे। राहुल जी, आपने कहा था मैं तो राहुल गांधी हूं, देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड अ सॉरी इन माय डिक्शनरी। अरे राहुल जी, कान पकड़ के उठक बैठक करके आपने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में माफी मांगी थी, तो आप ये मत बोलिए कि आपकी डिक्शनरी में सॉरी शब्द नहीं है। अभी भी मौका है, अहंकार को त्यागिए, त्यजिए अहंकार को, और देश के सामने ओबीसी वर्ग से क्षमा याचना करिए कि जो मैंने किया, गलत किया, मुझे ये नहीं करना चाहिए था। धन्यवाद। कोई प्रश्न हो तो अवश्य पूछें। देखिए, जहां तक कांग्रेस पार्टी का सवाल है, कांग्रेस पार्टी के इस चरित्र के विषय में कि जो लोग हिंदुस्तान के खिलाफ बोलते हैं उनको प्रमोट करना।
Let me bring in my colleague Ananya, who is tracking all the developments of what has come out of the appellate court in Surat. Ananya, a very, very unfavourable verdict when it is about Rahul Gandhi, and the court making it amply clear that this doesn't constitute for a rarest of rare case, as was argued by the Congress camp.
Well, definitely, and this is something of D-Day and a very, very big trouble for Rahul Gandhi, because now, since the conviction is not stayed, he is not an MP, and he cannot actually go back to the Lok Sabha Secretariat and say that, you know, please revoke my membership of the parliament. Definitely a huge loss also for the Congress party, speaking either politically or legally. Both Rahul Gandhi will have to fight it again before the Gujarat High Court now, because that's the next forum available to him. And post that, if at all the Gujarat High Court too does not grant him a stay, then it's only the topmost court of the country, that is the apex court, the Supreme Court of India, that could actually grant him a relief in this particular case. That too is a matter of time, and we'll get to know when he actually approaches both of these forums. But at the same point of time, the 27-page order copy is like a blow to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because clearly the court said he should have been more responsible, and there is an offence that is constituted definitely into this particular case. And a very, very categorical observation that though he has been dismissed as a member of parliament under section 8.3 of the Representatives of the People Act, but that is not any kind of a irreplaceable or a irreversible damage to, in fact, Mr. Gandhi, and that's the reason why the conviction has not been stayed by the Gujarat Sessions Court.
Also, Ananya, one important aspect that came out, because Rahul Gandhi's counsel had argued that since Mr. Purnesh Modi, who is the complainant in this case, is not an aggrieved party, hence the plea is not maintainable. What did the court have to say about that?
Well, the court had to say that, it had, first of all, it had ample amount of jurisdiction into this particular case. Secondly, the remarks that have been made by the Rahul Gandhi over the Modi community is definitely, and Purnesh Modi becomes a aggrieved person into this case, and that's the reason why a clear case is made out on a prima facie basis at this point of time, because remember, this was just an application for stay of conviction and not the actual appeal that is there. But a prima facie opinion of the court believes that, Purnesh Modi was somebody who was an aggrieved person. There is a substance in that particular complaint, and that's the reason why, in fact, the trial court was very, very rightly pointing out for a conviction of Rahul Gandhi and imprisoning him for 2 years. But at the same point of time, the court clearly saying, the Sessions Court clearly saying that, there is no kind of irreplaceable damage that has been caused to Mr. Gandhi in this particular thing, even though his parliamentary membership has gone away. But there is not irreplaceable damage, and since he was a member of the parliament, he should have been very, very careful in this particular case.
All right, Ananya, thank you so much for that. We're cutting across to reactions. We were speaking about the complainant, Mr. Purnesh Modi. We begin with his reaction first.
हमारे एडवोकेट से हमको जो माहिती मिली है कि जो राहुल गांधी ने निचली अदालत में जो फैसला था उसके सामने अपील की थी, उस अपील में दलील के बाद आज जज साहब ने फैसला सुनाया है। और मैसेज इतना मुझे मिल गया है कि श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी की जो अर्जी थी वो कोर्ट ने रिजेक्ट कर दी है। अब आगे देखते हैं क्या प्रोसीजर है, जजमेंट है।
जो मेरे क्लाइंट है पूर्णेश मोदी, ही इज एन एग्रीड पर्सन, वो कंप्लेंट करने के लिए कॉम्पिटेंट है। जो मोदी समाज है वो कंप्लेंट करने के लिए कॉम्पिटेंट है। दूसरा जो मुद्दा है ये है कि जो प्रोसेस इश्यू हुई थी वो सही तरीके से हुई है, उसमें कोई इरेगुलरिटी नहीं है जिससे कि ट्रायल विशिएट हो। ये दो टेक्निकल पॉइंट थे, उनका जवाब दिया हुआ है। तीसरा जो उन लोगों का पॉइंट था अरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस, तो उसके बारे में भी कोर्ट ने सही तरीके से सारे जजमेंट के ऊपर आधार रख के उन्होंने डिस्कशन किया हुआ है कि दिस इज नॉट अ अरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस कि जिसमें कन्विक्शंस को सस्पेंड किया जा सके। ये तीसरा मुद्दा है। चौथा मुद्दा कंडक्ट ऑफ द एक्यूज, ही इज बीइंग एमपी, नीड टू बी मोर केयरफुल।
तो जुरिडिक्शन के हिसाब से, कंप्लेनेंट के हिसाब से केस में अकाउंट होता ही नहीं, केस बनता नहीं। गलत सजा दी गई है राहुल जी को, और राहुल जी की सदस्यता ही नहीं छीनी गई है बल्कि घर भी छीन लिया गया है। लेकिन कांग्रेस को, ख़ास तौर से राहुल गांधी जो हमारे नेता हैं, हर कुर्बानी मंजूर है। उस लड़ाई में हम पीछे नहीं रहेंगे, चाहे गलती से, फर्जीगिरी से फंसाया जरूर जाए, लेकिन राहुल जी एक इंच पीछे होने वाले नहीं हैं।
हमने पहले भी कहा, संसदीय कार्य राज्य मंत्री होने के नाते मैंने कई बार मीडिया के सामने भी कहा है कि उन्होंने ऐसा मान लिया कि मैं कानून से ऊपर हूं और मुझे स्पेशल स्टेटस क्यों नहीं दी जा रही है, ऐसे उनके कुछ लोग कह भी रहे हैं। तो जब कोई आदमी अपने आप को कानून से ऊपर मानता है तो वो लगता है कि मैंने कोई गलती थोड़ी की है। और गालियां देना, देश के प्रति नफरत फैलाना, देश में बोलने नहीं दिया जाता, ऐसा विदेश में जाकर के कहना। अब ये कोलार की मीटिंग में बोला कौन था? राहुल गांधी स्वयं बोले थे। इसका मतलब बोलने की आजादी है इस देश में, गाली देने की नहीं है, ये समझना पड़ेगा। और न्यायपालिका को उनको सम्मान करना चाहिए।
Mr. Meghwal was just about mentioning the statement that Rahul Gandhi had made while in Kolar in Karnataka in 2019. Let's take a look at what exactly did he say because of which he's facing this legal trouble.
नीरव मोदी, ललित मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, इन सबके नाम मोदी 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 कैसे? ये सब चोरों के नाम मोदी 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 मोदी।
Let me go back to my colleague Ananya, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. Ananya, there was a certain statement that was made in the court today by the advocate and the judge that was presiding on the conduct of a member of parliament. Just take our viewers through that, considering that was the exact point because of which this particular plea by Rahul Gandhi has been dismissed in the court today?
Well, definitely, Griha. The court has very categorically stated that Mr. Gandhi should have been much more careful since he was a member of the parliament. And I'll exactly read down that particular portion of the order for you and our viewers as well, wherein it has been clearly stated that it is not disputed fact that an appellant was the member of a parliament and was the president of the second largest party, a former president though. And taking to the stature of the appellant, he should have been more careful with his words, which would have large impact on the minds of people. Any defamatory words coming from the mouth of appellant are sufficient enough to cause mental agony to the aggrieved persons, is what the court had to say, clearly saying that Mr. Gandhi was somebody who's a very responsible public figure, remained the president of the Congress party, which is at the moment the second largest party in the country. And even after that, Mr. Gandhi making such statement would actually become a mental agony for the people against whom such remarks have been made.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ananya. And we're leaving it at that. We are shifting our focus. We're getting some breaking news, an important one, in the Amritpal nabbing saga. Now we've been told that his wife, Amritpal Singh's wife, has been detained from the Amritsar airport and she is currently being probed. So, important associations of Amritpal Singh have been detained. We know already that his handler and close associate Papalpreet Singh has been detained. Now it is his wife who was at large, has also been detained, and this detention has happened from the Amritsar airport. And from what we know, she is currently being probed in the case. Amritpal, however, is still at large. His whereabouts have still not been able to be tracked by the Punjab police that is handling this case from the word go. But his wife has been detained from the Amritsar airport. My colleague Anshul is joining us on the broadcast with all the details. Anshul, this is an important detention that has happened. Now that all of the close associates of Amritpal are in custody, there is going to be a possible breakthrough that can be expected very soon. If you can just take us through the grounds from which and how Amritpal's wife was detained at the airport in Amritsar, and what do we know about the probe that's currently on?
Well, yes, Kirandeep Kaur, who is the wife of Amritpal Singh, has been stopped by Amritsar police before she was leaving for London, is what we are being told, and currently she is inside the lodge at the airport, where the Amritsar police is asking a few basic questions, because remember, there are no cases that have been registered against Kirandeep Kaur in this entire matter. Since Amritpal Singh has been on the run, Kirandeep Kaur has constantly been in the native village, in their home itself. Today, while she was leaving for London, she has been stopped by the Punjab police, where they are trying to ask her the reason as to why is she leaving for London, and if she had any idea whatsoever about the whereabouts of Amritpal Singh. Now, remember, all the close aides of Amritpal Singh have already been arrested, but yes, the Punjab police still has no clue about where Amritpal Singh is. It has been more than a month since Amritpal Singh has been on the run, and he still managed to escape from the grasp of Punjab police. So, getting some information from his wife is going to be very crucial for the Punjab police. On the other hand, Papalpreet Singh, who has been sent to Dibrugarh, his interrogation is also on. And but the police is trying to break him down, but he still hasn't broken down, and he has not told about the whereabouts of Amritpal Singh. However, during the investigation, he has revealed about what other places did they actually manage to go to, and who were the people who held them. And all those people have now been taken into custody, but he still hasn't told about the last location of Amritpal Singh. So yes, it remains to be seen as to for how long will the wife of Amritpal Singh, Kirandeep Kaur, be stopped at the Punjab airport, because the legal grounds with the Punjab police to stop her is actually very less, because she is not named in that FIR that has been registered against Amritpal Singh, and hence the Punjab police could not stop her.
Anshul, what are the details that we know about Kirandeep Kaur, considering she was casually there at the Amritsar airport, or possibly all set to be flying out to London? She already knew that Amritpal is away from the clutches of the police, and there is a manhunt that's currently on. What was the tip-off that led to the police really reaching Kirandeep here?
So yes, what we have been told at this point in time from sources within the Punjab police is that it was the airport security that had given them that tip off that Kirandeep Kaur had reached the airport, and since they got that information, they went to the airport and stopped her from boarding the flight to London. Now remember, she is an NRI. She is a resident of London itself. It is in London itself where the marriage of Amritpal Singh and Kirandeep Kaur had happened in February last year. But yes, if you talk about Kirandeep Kaur, she also has a criminal past. If you see, she has been involved in anti-India activities in London. In fact, she has been involved in many pro-Khalistan protests that have happened in London. And in fact, in 2020, she was also taken into custody by the London police while she was in a protest itself. So, Kirandeep Kaur is an important piece in this entire puzzle that the Punjab police is trying to solve at this point in time, because she also knows a lot of routes through which Amritpal Singh could actually manage to escape, and she also knows a lot of people who could actually.
And we're putting out her visuals. I believe this is from the Amritsar airport when she was detained. Kirandeep Kaur there on your screens. These are the first exclusive images of Amritpal Singh's wife, Kirandeep Kaur, as she's been detained in Amritsar at the airport while the questioning after its detention is currently on. Anshul, thank you so much for all of those details, and we're leaving you with these images and slipping into a very short break.
आइडियोलॉजी नहीं है, क्योंकि हमको मदद मिली नहीं है, यहाँ पे किसी से भी मदद नहीं मिली है। अभी इसको चूज करने का हमारे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, यहाँ रहेंगे या इंडिया जाएंगे। हमारे को कोई समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि हम बाहर जा नहीं सकते, फायरिंग हुआ है। सरकार की तरफ से हमारे को मदद मिल जाएगी, इंडिया बुलाया जाएगा तो हम आने के लिए तैयार है।
आप कितने लोग हो प्रभु? आप कितने लोग हो और कहाँ, मतलब सुदान में अलग अलग जगहों पे फंसे हैं या एक ही जगह फंसे हैं? कितने लोग हैं आप?
स्टेट है कर्नाटक, तो वहां से मेरी समझ में, मेरे को जितना मालूम है 700-800 लोग फंसे हुए हैं सुडान में, पूरे सुडान में 700-800 हजार लोग के आर पार फंसे हुए हैं।
Okay, all right, Prabhu, बहुत धन्यवाद. He is saying 700 to 800, but officially the number that we know, at least from the state of Karnataka, is 31. But let me open this up to both Aishwarya Mahadev and to Ratan Sharda. Aishwarya Mahadev, the contention that's being made by Dr. Jaishankar, the MEA folks, and of course people like Tejaswi Surya is this government has rescued stranded Indians from Yemen, from Libya, from Ukraine. So then why are you politicizing this just because there is an election? Let the government and its agencies do their job in evacuating these Indian citizens from Sudan. How do you respond to that?
Good evening, Zaka. I think first and foremost, these Indians there, or the Kannadigas also that we've highlighted, have been there for the past 4 or 5 days without food and water. It was yesterday when the former Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, tweeted and saying these are vulnerable communities that have traveled there and they are stuck. Kindly help them. That was when the focus and the attention shifted towards it. That was when the Ministry of External Affairs and of course Mr. Jaishankar with his appalling sort of response came out to tell us that these things were happening. But please tell me, how much media attention was on this situation before that? One. Second, how many people had established contact to reassure these people stranded there? Two. And third, is it really wrong for a former head of a state to ask the central government for help and assistance for his people who are stranded abroad? There is no politicization. My former CM did not say a war was completely stopped, as a former BJP president did, saying a complete war was stopped to bring back people. This is not politicization. It is appalling that a man, when asked to do his job, turns around and tells a former chief minister of a state that this is appalling. You are politicizing this issue. There is no politicization.
So let me ask Ratan Sharda, the job of any politician, whether it's chief minister or former chief minister or minister, whatever it is, the job of any politician is to respond to his or her constituents. Constituents reach out, and then the job of the politician is to try and extend help or get the government to extend help. So the Congress is claiming that that's all Siddaramaiah did. There was no need for that rather terse response from the External Affairs Minister saying that this is appalling and you're playing politics. He's after all responding to his constituents.
Zaka, a politician is not just responsible for his small constituency, he is also responsible for the nation. You are a chief minister of a state and you know that around 3,000 people are stuck in Sudan. You talk of only 31 people. how parochial can you get? How parochial and how narrow-minded can you be? Your Congress and All India Party is now trying to narrow itself down to a regional party and behaving like a DMK. Karnataka is most cosmopolitan state, and the state has been welcoming all. When you talk of only 31 people or 3,000, and then you make a public tweet giving the location of the person, is that right? Government has done, every government in the past, this government in its own term has done wonderful evacuation, whether Operation Sankat Mochan, Operation Ganga, Operation Rahat, where even foreigners have been rescued.
Welcome back. We're getting some breaking news now, and this is concerns the elections in Karnataka. Now we are hearing that there's a massive row that has erupted after Imran Pratapgarhi has been included in Congress's list of star campaigners for Karnataka. BJP has alleged that Imran Pratapgarhi was a close friend of Atiq Ahmed, and Imran always used to say that Atiq is my guru and brother.
ಇಮ್ರಾನ್ ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಗಡಿಯ ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಆತಿಕ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ನನ್ನ ಗುರು, ಆತಿಕ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ನನ್ನ ಬ್ರದರು, ನನ್ನ ಬಾಯಿ. ಆತಿಕ್ ಅಹಮದ್ಗೆ ಶಹರಿ ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಇಮ್ರಾನ್ ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಗಡಿಯ ಪೊಯೆಟ್ರಿ ಶಾಹಿರಿಯನ್ನು ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಶಹರಿಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಆತಿಕ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಆತಿಕ್ ಅಹಮದ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಮ್ರಾನ್ ಪ್ರತಾಪ್ ಗಡಿಯ ಶಾಹಿರಿ ರಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ.
Today, Congress has appointed Imran Pratapgarhi as the star campaigner, and BJP is saying that he is close aide of Atiq Ahmed, and they're doing this in order to appease minority.
Imran Pratapgarhi is the chairman of our minority cell, and he will be coming. What is wrong in that? We are not saying that someone who is coming, who is under that, who had committed some crime, who is behind the bars. We are not doing that. But people who are asking about the star campaigners, can they answer that why Jatin Prasad, why RPN Singh, why Jyotiraditya Scindia? Because they are self-acclaimed star campaigners.
My colleague Ritu is now joining us on the broadcast. Ritu, there seems to be a massive controversy that has now erupted over Congress's list of star campaigners, and Imran Pratapgarhi is at the forefront of it all. And this in turn has been started by BJP. Now, they are claiming his associations and close links with Atiq Ahmed. What is the background of it all? And what is the clarity that's coming from the Congress party when it comes to this allegation?
Well, you see, now BJP doesn't want to give a single chance as well to the Congress ahead of the assembly elections. All this while we did see how Congress went on attacking BJP over various issues, and now the BJP is very keen on ensuring that they are very closely monitoring the developments that are taking place in the Congress. So that's the reason you see just a day after that Congress party released its star campaigners list. Now, BJP comes out and lashes out at the Congress for, in fact, including Imran Pratapgarhi as their star campaigner. Now, further, BJP also goes on to allege that he had written poetry. He used to pen letters as well to him. He's called him a guru as well. So the person who, in fact, had carried an anti-national work, why should he be invited in the state like Karnataka where the peace has to be maintained in a way? So that's the whole reason. That's why we're getting to see now BJP coming out and attacking the Congress. But meanwhile, Congress goes on to say that he is there a leader, a minority leader, and well known among the communities as well. He also enjoys his own supporters. So of course, what is wrong is he comes and visits the poll-bound Karnataka, and anyways, that the party doesn't have any issues with it at all. But however, now we will have to see that how the Congress is really going to make a note of this kind of an attack coming out from the BJP, because further going, you see, most of the BJP leaders might come out to attack the Congress.
Okay. Ritu, there have been instances where, let's say, in this case, Imran Pratapgarhi, his speech in the parliament has been lauded, went viral. So that is one aspect of Mr. Pratapgarhi. On the other hand, once you associate him with a a dawn that is now slain, obviously things shift against his favor. And the Congress, in the reaction that I heard with Akshara, has not been able to really cull all of that thoroughly. They are just accusing that the BJP is also coming out with certain lists where there are leaders who are self-proclaimed stars. Where do you see this? How do you see this really play out in the politics in Karnataka?
Well, of course, it's a poll-bound Karnataka, so every single issue, in fact, takes a political color there. And in yet another incident, we're getting to see this issue as well being dragged up by the BJP this time. But however, what the Congress here is in fact very confident is that it is all the individuals' performance that really matters during the elections, and the star campaigners are coming here to support the leaders, and this will nowhere affect the party in any way. So that's the kind of confidence that the Congress leaders, in fact, are having in the state. But as said, now this might actually backfire. In fact, the Congress might have to face a severe backlash for this. So they really will have to come out and provide that whole clarity as well, or probably rethink about their decision as well. Because on the other hand, you see, there are questions that are being raised that why is that Sachin Pilot is not invited, while he was seen a couple of times visiting the poll-bound state also, speaking to media as well, and putting forth the points about how crucial this election is going to be for the Congress, then why is he not mentioned there? So is there a kind of the strategy that the Congress is also having when they release this star campaigners list?
Ritu, I'm really sorry I'm interrupting you there. Mr. S. Prakash of the BJP is with us on the broadcast. Mr. Prakash, the Congress party is accusing the BJP of nitpicking in the name of star campaigners, and they in turn are saying that if we were to go ahead and comment on BJP's list of star campaigners, we would also have a lot of other points. Your reaction, sir?
No, who has stopped them from commenting? It's a democratic country. Anyone can comment on anybody. If there is anything which they can comment, let them go ahead. But there is a point here with Imran Pratap Gade, who calls for killing of people brazenly, openly, and in several platforms, has been made a star campaigner for the Karnataka. It is an insult to the people of the Karnataka. And it is a pertinent point, and Congress needs to answer it.
No, Mr. Prakash, when you say that he's called for the killing of people brazenly, what specific case are you referring to?
His speech on the YouTube, he clearly says if one is killed, you before one dies, kill four. He has specifically said it. It is on record. It is available on YouTube.
Okay.
And he is such a person. And can Karnataka tolerate such violent-minded people?
Okay. It's very strange, Mr. Prakash, that you're talking about a certainty, because what I hear of Mr. Pratap Gade is a speech that he'd made in Parliament, which was going viral, where he was talking about Save Universities, where he's talking about the minorities on how they are as patriotic as the other members of the country. I'd let Mr. Sanket Yenagi actually